Hello and welcome to the Neo News Today podcast. I'm your host, Dylan of Neo News Today. In episode 49 of the NNT pod, I sat down and spoke with Steven Liu, a technologist at the Neo Foundation and the tech lead for Flamingo Finance. In this episode, we talked about Steven's background, Flamingo as an infrastructure for DeFi, the complexities of building a trading module, the process of developing and releasing Neo 3, and more. So I hope you enjoy listening to this conversation as much as I enjoyed having it. Hey guys, what's going on? Dylan with the Neo News Today podcast. Today we are speaking with Steven Liu, the technologist at the Neo Foundation and the Flamingo Finance tech lead. How you doing today, Steven?
Yeah, I'm good. How are you, Dina?
I'm doing awesome. I think that we spoke for the Neo in Academia article about a year ago, but this is the first time you're coming onto the podcast, right?
Yes, it's my first time to join the podcast.
Awesome. Really psyched to have you here. Thanks for sharing your time with us. So just to jump right into this, can you tell us a little bit about who you are and what your role is with Neo?
Yeah, okay. Yeah, I think I did a similar interview with NNT before. It was Colin, I think, who asked me. So my name is Steven, and my Chinese name is Liu Dong. I joined the Neo for the NGD office in the 2018, and I actually joined the cryptocurrency in the end of 2017. And before that, I knew Bitcoin, Ethereum, EOS, and knew Neo a little bit, but don't know the details. And after I learned something about the DApp development, the smart contract, and I began to know like Neo is also a blockchain which has a smart contract, and it's different with Ethereum and EOS, and I become interested in it. And after some friends of recommendation, I joined the NGD office. And in the beginning, I was a software developer in the R&D development. I did some work about the code and analysis, the documentation writing, the test work, and I also play with some community tools like the SDKs provided by City of Zion and the O3 wallet, these kind of things. And after that, when I began to more familiar with the community and their works, I transferred my role to the Neo Foundation, work with Grace together to communicate with developers of the community, and also design the tasks of them, and also control the resource for the communities. That's all my jobs in the Neo Foundation.
Very cool. So is Neo the first blockchain that you've worked on behalf of?
To be honest, no. I personally worked something with the EOS before.
Okay.
Yeah, my personal interest, and working with my friends together to did some job in the nodes and in the smart contract.
Very cool. So you've had a handful of positions at Neo, and I'm just wondering how working in the different roles that you've had, how have they shaped your outlook on Neo?
Yeah, I think first of all, I'm a developer, and I really like the smart contract and also the blockchain related technical things. And the Neo is a new thing to me in the beginning. It uses a different VM, different compiler with Ethereum and EOS. And after I get familiar with it, I found it's quite an interesting project, and we have a lot of communities. They are contributing to our core codes and our SDKs, our ecosystems. I learned a lot from them, and I began to know more about the Neo development. And during the R&D time in the NGD office, I think most of my time is learning new and learning the development and community, and also have some experience with communities, SDK and related work. And after shifting my role to the Neo Foundation, my role is focusing more on the communicating and also some work of design the whole tasks, the stacks, and also did some work with some other ecosystem partners to let them know more about Neo. As you said before, we had a talk with education related work. So that's also another part of the job I did in the Neo Foundation. I have to let more people, more developers to know what Neo is, what you can do on the Neo, and also more students in the university can learn how to do smart contract development on Neo. And I really thanks this job opportunity in the Neo Foundation led me to like know more about the the the, the whole industry, the what other blockchain is doing, and also can contact with more ecosystem partners, more students, more communities. That's all.
Very cool. Yeah, it was really awesome to pick your brain about a year ago to learn more about the great things that you were doing, that you at Neo Foundation as well as other developer communities were doing with students and just in general with academic institutions. And of course, Neo News Today has an awesome article that we released last summer. So beyond all the roles that you've had at Neo and Neo Foundation, you're also the lead developer of Flamingo Finance. So how were you selected for that project, and what's the ultimate vision for Flamingo?
I think, well, yeah, begin to know about the DeFi world in the very early in the 2019. I think I played with the Uniswap, the Compound, and also Synthetics. Yeah, in that year, and I found it was very interesting, but not that crazy that time. And when the 2020 coming and when the price of these DeFi tokens rise, more and more people are getting interested in these DeFi projects and become crazy about it. And then I think it's time for me and for other our colleagues to discuss about what Neo can do in this world. As you know, like the goal of the Neo is to build a smart economy, right? But what smart economy should be, and we did some work before, like we tried to build a DEX, it's a switcher, and we also have our stablecoin, it's called Arcmint, and we also did some work in the STO and NFT. This is kind of a real asset. But I believe we need to do more, as our founders always say, like we have to build some infrastructure of the finance from the real world to the blockchain. And I think that how the Flamingo come. We take about 1 month to discuss the structure of the Flamingo Finance, and also discuss a lot with our founders. And finally, we decided to do this project. And it's quite hard for us in the beginning because in Neo there are something not not there in the smart contract system, also in the community tools, and we experienced a lot of bugs and a lot of mistakes in the beginning, and yeah, and I think now everything works well, and we receive a lot of contributions from the community. Some help us review our code and do some auditing, and some of us report some bugs and some feedbacks for us. And now the Flamingo becomes a very important part of Neo ecosystem. As I said before, the target of Flamingo is not doing everything for the Neo. It's just infrastructure, the basic things that provide the liquidity and provide users a tool like can wrapping the asset from other blockchain to the Neo world. And I think based on the Flamingo developers and communities can do a lot of work on it, like the lending and the borrowing system, the insurance, the oracles, these kind of things.
So, what makes Flamingo different from other DeFi projects?
I think there are something different. First of all, Flamingo has the cross-chain part, which we are using the Poly network. We can let people wrapping the Ethereum, the Bitcoin, and the ontology to the new ecosystem. I think that's one of the first important things that Flamingo had did. And the other thing is Flamingo has it's a full stack DeFi project. People can use the Poly network to do cross chain asset transfer, and then in the Uniswap, people can transfer uh, trade their tokens, and then in the perpetual protocol recently we developed, people can add margin on it and to do some more trading, and also not only the token asset, but also can be some synthetic asset and some real asset in the world.
Very much looking forward to the different types of assets being added to the perp trading module. And in the previous question, you'd mentioned that the community had given you a lot of feedback about the Flamingo protocol. And very recently, there was a trading competition on the perp module. So I'm just wondering if you could share a little bit more about what you learned from the community and from how the community was using perp and how that impacted your decision to make tweaks or to change the perp module.
Well, I think it's a quite good competition for us. Yeah, because the development of the perpetual protocol on Neo is very difficult for us. Yeah, as you know, like the Uniswap, the compound, they already exist a long time, maybe 2 or 3 years, and people already found a lot of things, bugs on it. So we can just learn from these as a reference. But for the perpetual protocol, I think it only occurred this year or in the end of last year. There are just a few projects who are doing this, and we don't have too much thing to learn. We have to discover all things by ourselves. So the trading competition is a good place for us to let people to play with it, to find bugs, to find problems in it. A lot of users in the Discord message us there are some bugs, some feedbacks, and someone I know they find some tricks to earn a lot of money in it. I think these are all things good for us. Yeah, such a large trading system, it's very difficult to debug. We can only do some normal testing, but we cannot do very complicated. And when more and more users come to the system, it makes the system very chaos, very difficult to find the bugs. So I really thanks all the users and the traders joining the trading competition. Makes some feedbacks for us.
Yeah, when we were covering the launch of the perp competition, we'd noted that perp was using virtual AMMs, and there are very few projects out there right now that are using virtual AMMs. So you guys were on the cutting edge of new technology. And speaking on being of the cutting edge, Hongfei recently released a significant plan update for Flamingo. So could you just explain basically what the proposed changes are for Flamingo and Flamingcom?
I think most of the change happening in the Flamingcom. As you know, before, we use the Poly network to do the asset cross-chain from the Ethereum and the ontology to Neo. Before that, there is one thing called Flamingcom, which is Wi-Fi related similar things to help users to earn money from other DeFi projects. But there are some problem already exists in the Flamingcom version 1. Now they upgraded to the version 2, which already resolved that problem. And now the people in the Ethereum side, they can do two choices. So the first choice is cross chain to the Neo the signature is to do some like to do some asset mining in the Ethereum side, and they can earn a lot more than other DeFi projects.
And that's using the two new token model, the X token and the Y token.
Yes, that's the two new token models, X token and Y token.
Awesome. I'll let our readers check out our coverage of that and look at Neo's information that they released in the article about those updates. When you were describing what the Flamingo platform is eventually going to become, you had mentioned lending. So is there on the roadmap a time frame for when there's going to be a lending protocol, or is that something that you guys are going to focus on at another time?
I think we don't have a detailed plan on it now, because I think we are still focusing more on the version 2 of Flamingo and also the perpetual protocol first. And I think in the next maybe few months, there are some team, maybe our team, maybe also other community can do this work, because the lending and the borrowing system is also an important part of DeFi.
Absolutely. And I want to get into bringing in new developers and new teams here in a minute. But before we kind of transition to Neo 3, just really briefly, just really generally, what does the ultimate success for Flamingo look like to you?
What is ultimate goal or ultimate?
Yeah. What's your vision for what Flamingo Finance can become?
I think it should be the most important infrastructure of DeFi on Neo, and it should be the entrance of users and the traders to join the Neo DeFi world. And it connects the real world financial activity to the blockchain world.
Awesome. So I want to shift a little bit to Neo 3 because you do wear multiple hats at Neo. So currently the ecosystem is implementing the Preview 5 right now, and testnet is going to launch in the coming month or so. So what are you most anticipating about the launch of testnet?
Well, I think it's a good time for us to launch the testnet. Neo 2 is already running for a very long time, and we already found there are some existing bottlenecks and some drawbacks for the Neo 2. And now I think there are a lot of DeFi projects, some NFT projects, and some STO projects running in the world. I think now when the Neo is upgrading to Neo 3, and when the testnet is coming, we can attract more new projects and new developers to come to enjoy the new Neo development environment.
Are we allowed to talk about the upcoming community grants?
Well, for the community grants, we can talk a little bit about it. Like, it's designed by our Neo Foundation, and it's Grace is leading on it, and we are going to have this grants system because we want to attract more new developers and new programs to join. We can provide some small amount of grants to like incentive them to learn and to develop on Neo.
Cool. So looking forward, once we have the testnet and we have mainnet and we have the community grants going, is there going to be sort of a focus for the types of developers you want to bring into the ecosystem, the types of projects you want to bring into the ecosystem? Or is there just going to be kind of like a catch-all, like you and the rest of the team will evaluate the different people who are proposing to build in the ecosystem? Or are you going to be kind of going after specific teams to build out DeFi protocols or to build out DApps or any other specific sort of projects?
I think there is no specific condition for this grant. We welcome all kind of developers to come, not only DeFi but also NFT, new DApps, game. They can also come to the Neo 3 when the testnet is launching, because I think when the Neo 3 is launching, we are going to have a larger ecosystem, and people will yeah, the users of Neo can see, wow, there is a lot of things to play with.
Cool. Something I just want to ask you personally.
Yeah.
I understand that large technological infrastructure projects always take longer than we think they're supposed to take.
Yeah.
And maybe it might be rough for you guys because some token holders or some members of the community might be a little impatient. So, what's kind of the biggest lesson you've learned about this major upgrade from Neo 2 to Neo 3? And what's something that the community could learn from your perspective about why it's so difficult for this large project to be launched?
Well, I think, I know like people always ask me, like not only the users, not token holders, but also some media, some friends asked me like why the newsroom is not coming, like it's say like 1 years ago. So I have to say that all the core developers and NGD developers are working hardly on it. Yeah, although the release time of Neo3 is delayed again and again, I I also know there are some complaints, some doubts in the communities. But personally, I have to say like there are 2 points I have to say behind it. The first of all is Neo3 is a huge change, and there is a number of new features in the Neo3. And for these features, even some small features, it required our developers to do a number of tests, to do a number of things to verify. Yeah, even if it looks like there is a tiny update from outside world, from the user's perspective, it actually maybe cost our developers about 1 week to find out what bug in it. And the second point I have to say is Neo is always a decentralized, community-driven project from the beginning to now. It's always there. So we still use the core developer system. Every developer from the world joining it. They can contribute to the Neo, and they have different ideas to discuss, to talk with each other. So as you know, like the community-driven project always have these long-term voting process. They have to decide what is right, what is wrong. Not like some projects. Maybe there is a in-house team. They can do it very quickly in 1 or 2 months. That's not a story for Neo. So Neo in the beginning, as our 2 founders always said, Neo is a community project. We are always doing the community-driven things. And also, you can see in the newsroom, we have a lot of components built by the community, like the ideas from Sourcecom blockchain. The file system NeoFS is by the NSPCC in Russia. So I think these community do a lot of work for us, and we believe in this work time we can always make Neo great.
Yeah, so Neo 3 is going to have all these great inclusive tools. There's going to be identity, there's going to be distributed storage, but then there's also going to be little developer tweaks that maybe me as a token holder and maybe just a Neo user, not necessarily a developer, aren't going to be able to see. For example, the transition from the UTXO based model to the asset model. So thinking about all the big scale things like decentralized storage, all the way down to the way that assets are going to be stored on the Neo network, what are you most anticipating, or what's your favorite aspect of Neo 3 that you're most looking forward to?
There are some. First of all, I think the FS is a good thing for me. Like we have our file storage system in the Neo 3, and it's a really useful tools, really useful components for us. When when there are some large scale business D apps running on the Neo, the file system can be store these large files. And the other thing I think it's compromising is the remove of UTXO model. I think UTXO model is good for us when we want to trace some old histories, but I think the new model makes it much easier for developer to do things.
Cool. So you have so many hats on at Neo Foundation and working on Flamingo. So for you personally, what are your next steps? What are you going to be working on next?
Personally, I first of all, I will still work on the Flamingo team. We will do the development of the version 2 and maybe other components this year. And also we have to migrate to Neo 3 when the Neo 3 is ready. And maybe I will do some work with NGD developers. When the Neo 3 test is launching, we will find out some new things to do, maybe some new tools or some new things based on the Neo 3.
Awesome. We have a lot going on in the ecosystem. This is going to be a very big year for Neo. I'm anticipating new developers coming into the ecosystem. So it's going to be great for them to have a person such as yourself that they can contact and ask any questions that they might have.
Sure.
Cognizant of your time, I know it's getting late in Shanghai. Is there anything that we haven't talked about today that you would like to share with the Neo News Today community?
Well, I think it's okay now, and I very welcome people to talk with me on Discord. Maybe you can always find me on Discord. Yeah.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for sharing your time with us today at Neo News Today. It's always great to chat with you. It's been far too long since the last time we caught up. And
Yes.
yeah, I just want to thank you for joining us, and I wish you a good night.
Yeah, good. Thank you, Dylan.
Well, what did you think of that conversation? I found it really interesting that Steven views Flamingo as the infrastructure, a full stack protocol for DeFi in the Neo ecosystem, and that its cross-chain communication makes it a unique platform. Plus, it was great to get Steven's perspective from the inside on what it's like to collaborate with a global developer community on building a major blockchain upgrade, and how processes can sometimes take a while. To keep up to date with the latest in the Neo ecosystem, visit www.neonewstoday.com. And if you haven't yet, please subscribe to our channels on YouTube, Apple iTunes, Google Podcasts, and or Spotify. And leave a 5-star review if you feel that others should hear our content. Every subscription and review helps others learn more about the Neo News Today podcast and the Neo ecosystem. So thank you so much for taking the time to listen to the Neo News Today podcast, and we look forward to catching you next time.